The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
If you never had a doubt that the Red Raiders would come back to win the Insight Bowl, you've come to the right place. Texas Tech football lives on Double T 97.3.
No doubt. Never a doubt, right?
I had doubts.
Yeah, we all had doubts. We all had some doubts. Okay, hey, I was listening to Red Raider baseball with Tim Tadlock last night on my way home from work, and the discussion of the pitching for the weekend came up because it's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and Coach Tadlock milled around a little bit and said that they were still discussing it and that they had discussed it as a staff yesterday afternoon and they were going to sleep on it. And I don't know if they're going to, send out any, big, huge press release of who's going to start and when it's going to start. I just thought that was kind of interesting. Wanted to get your take on that.
Interesting because they hadn't decided yet.
Yeah, didn't name names or.
Well,
so it makes me wonder if anything's going to change.
Well, a few different things factored in here. I mean, is that you're playing on Thursday one day earlier. I don't think he wants to push Mac Hewer and Zane Petty and 1 day's less rest. Okay? Mm-hmm. So I expect those two guys to stay on Friday and Saturday like they were this past weekend. Now, the question is, and the other part that's factoring in here is you've not really had anybody that's like claimed the Sunday role, mm-hmm. right? And so at this point, you're probably gonna start somebody on Thursday that maybe would have been a guy that you would have normally used on Sunday. So you didn't use Tyler Boudreau last weekend. He had been a weekend starter for you. I would think there's a high probability that Tyler Boudreau could possibly get a start. I mean, Lucas Perko didn't throw a ton of pitches in the game because of his ineffectiveness. So, maybe he could bounce back. You have some different options, but I don't think, you didn't have a midweek contest. And so your last two midweek games, you've started Connor Mohan. But I don't think they used him out of the pen this weekend, and he looked much better out of the bullpen than he has as a starter. So I don't think they'll go that route. I do think it's a possibility, but my money would be on Tyler Boudreau.
Okay. And then, just as available from moving forward in terms of the rest of that game. I mean, he's not going to go the whole route, so.
Why not? Just go give us 9, Tyler.
Well,
just like every other day. I wouldn't, with Jack Siebert throwing twice on Friday and Sunday, mm-hmm. I wouldn't expect to see him on Thursday. But I'm not saying it's not possible. Just don't know. But other than that, every other bullpen arm should be ready. Yeah.
The topic was brought up, and then I did the extra research because they didn't know all the facts. But because Jeff Haxton was talking about the light standards there at the Phoenix Municipal Stadium. Do you know the history behind those things?
Yeah, they were brought in from somewhere else.
Yeah, from
something.
When Horace Stoneham, he moved the Giants, out to San Francisco, and his minor league team was there in Phoenix, and so the light standards come from the Polo Grounds in New York City. They had been in the Polo Grounds, and they were when the stadium was demolished. He had those light poles shipped to Phoenix.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, a little history, a little conversation starter for you when you're, around the batting cage talking to the guys, and you say, "Yeah, you see those over there? Those came from the Polo Grounds in New York City." And then you'll have to explain the Polo Grounds
mm-hmm.
and all those things. Yeah.
I can't tell you how many of my conversation starters have begun with conversations about light poles.
Right. Well,
a lot. High percentage, Jeff.
See, if you had me with you there, then that's what you could use me for. I could, hey, those light standers over there came from the polo
See, in
grounds.
baseball, we've got the designated hitter. In softball, we have the designated player. In Chuck's broadcast road, we have the designated talker.
I was when we were in New Mexico last week. I was watching a little BP and the New Mexico radio guy. He was down there at the cage talking to the New Mexico head coach. They were yucking it up and having a good time, and it made me think of you, Chuck.
So he was like, oh, that's what it would look like.
That's what it would look like.
And then you said to yourself, and that's what it's never going to look like, which I get. I understand that. There's only so much of me that people can take. And I'm grateful to you too.
Well, we enjoy our 3 hours with you every day.
That you take that with me. The 3 hours is enough. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you say? Mm-hmm. Okay. 6:37 tonight. This morning here on the Morning Drive. I was going to say tonight, I think this is I think this is not just pretty cool. I think it's really cool with the Friendship baseball team and the Amarillo High baseball team getting to play at Hodgetown.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very cool that those two teams get to play in a minor league ballpark. Should be a lot of fun.
And that will come to us tonight. We'll have it for you on Sunny 97.7. I wonder if this is, it's a one-off, right? But I wonder if this is something Amarillo High does every year, or if it's something that, the Sod Poodles extend to them as a, community kind of, town and gown kind of relationship, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know enough about their schedule, but I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bullfighter says this. Wow. This is a compliment to you. Okay. JL and Hacks are Hicks and Nadell. Okay. Chuck would be Jared Sandler, bringing all the baseball facts no one else thinks about.
I think Sandler does a great job. So
yeah, maybe that is a
compliment to everyone.
A compliment. Hey, did you know? I'm guessing you did. Did you know that the NBA regular season is over?
I heard.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Maybe what you don't know. This maybe will come as no surprise to you. Luka Doncic's number 77, the NBA's most popular jersey based on sales at the NBA store at NBAstore.com.
He changed teams. So that makes sense.
All the new jerseys had to get sold, and everybody that wanted to go burn a Luka jersey for the Mavericks needed to go buy one to burn.
Like I said, it probably comes as no surprise to you guys.
Do you think people really bought jerseys to burn them?
They bought them initially when they burned them. Why they wouldn't burn a new one, I don't know.
And why would they burn them? Supposedly they were mad at the Mavs, not Luka.
Yeah.
I never understand what mad fans do.
Yeah, that's fair.
And see, the other thing is, it's somewhat sad that people would just jump that quickly from one team to another just because the player was traded. But I guess that's where we are.
Yeah, that's nothing new.
No, it's not. It just disappoints me.
And it also doesn't mean that you've jumped teams. You may just want a Luka jersey.
Yeah, maybe so.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Stay in sports history. Today is Tuesday, April the 15th, 2025. Here is Jeff McGuire.
Starting in 1927, New York Yankee slugger Babe Ruth hits home run number 1 of the year. He'd have a few more. Tees off of the A's Howard Meek. No way I got that right. In the first inning of the Yankees' 6-3 win over Philadelphia. EHMKE. Ain't no way I got that right. 1947. Big day. Big, huge day. Red letter day, even. Jackie Robinson becomes the first African-American to play Major League Baseball for the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Nice.
Is everybody wearing 42 today?
That's usually what they do, yeah.
Yeah. Just hadn't seen that announced, that's why I asked that question.
1965, something that helped us all. NFL changes the penalty flag from white to a bright yellow. Or gold, as the case may be. Because if you throw a white penalty flag on a yard marker that's also white, you can't see it.
It's hard to see it, yeah.
1991, Magic Johnson sets an NBA record for career assists with 9,898. 2013, Boston Marathon bombings happen. 3 people are killed and 183 injured after 2 explosions happened near the finish line. And in 2023, number 21, Texas Tech used early scoring and a dominant relief appearance by Ryan Free against Oklahoma to secure a 9-5 win. He needed just 66 pitches to complete 5 perfect innings while setting a new career best for strikeouts.
Yeah, 15 up, 15 down. He was awesome that night.
He's really good for you, too.
He had his moments. He was definitely great that night. Yeah, he was as good as a starter last year.
It is National Glazed Spiral Ham Day. I'm a huge fan.
Mm-hmm.
It's also McDonald's Day. I don't know why McDonald's needs a day when I haven't seen Burger King or Wendy's or anybody else get one, but it's McDonald's Day as well.
You're just supposed to go, or is it
or do you go find a farm and find the old one?
Yeah, that might be it too.
Emma Watson, 35 today. Seth Rogen, 43. Maisie Williams is 28. Emma Thompson, 66. Thomas F. Wilson, better known as Biff Tannen from the Back to the Future series, is 66. And Jason Sehorn is 54. And on this day, in a very dark, very cold North Atlantic Ocean at 2:20 a.m. in 1912, the British ocean liner Titanic sinks into the North Atlantic about 400 miles south of Newfoundland, Canada. The massive ship, which carried 2,200 passengers and crew, was struck by an iceberg 2.5 hours earlier in the night. And made a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
Probably not appropriate to sing my Scout Camp Titanic song then.
I would wait until tomorrow.
Okay. Do you remember that song, Jamie?
I think we've heard it before.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that is this day in sports history.
6:49 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Apparently there is a legend for Saquon Barkley that he refuses to eat at McDonald's. Apparently not even a nugget. You know, we all have those things in our life that we have a burr in our saddle over that we're not going to do. Then apparently that's his. Not eat at McDonald's at all.
Okay. I've been a fan my whole life, and I'm currently out.
You're currently out.
I'm currently out. I've gone with a new marketing person that I'm not a fan of. So.
Okay. So, if you're driving by and you got your choice, I'll
pick a different one now.
You'll pick a different one for the moment. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. 6:49 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Thoughts, comments.
There's usually plenty of options, so.
Yeah, right.
I think they'll be fine without me.
I mean, you see one that's usually littered with 2 or 3 other different places that are all good to go. Same similar parking lot. And
a lot of reasons
like
that I go through stretches, of like I'm not going to use that place for a while. Mm-hmm. I'm currently there.
Occasionally, and it's very rare, very, very rare, that we have dumb moments or say dumb things on this show. They're not.
So where's the fun in that?
They're not necessarily captured like the earthquake stuff in Southern California yesterday. Apparently, and I didn't know this, there was a magnitude of 5.2 in the Los Angeles area and in San Diego. And apparently now they were able to predict these things, and so you'll get an alert if you sign up for them in those areas that an earthquake is coming, so you can prepare yourself. Okay,
that's good.
Okay. Well, apparently I saw this on the Jimmy Kimmel show last night. I just thought it was hilarious. So they were apparently during the morning shows like Good Morning LA. We got a Good Morning Lubbock and all those kinds of things. Just like they do. The morning anchors were on the air and they said, "Did you feel that?" And no. And then they went to the weather girl, and bless her heart, she wanted to know if that was a test. She said it was. And it was so serious because the building was shaking. Yes, we've made the building shake so that it could be a test of the earthquake monitor. And then they said to her, look up and see the lights. They're like, oh, the lights are moving. Is this a test? No, it's not. It's not a test. Can't make the building shake, sweetheart.
No, but now I kind of want to make him do a test. I kind of want to see what that would look like now.
Just tell us that the high today is going to be 85 and it's going to be sunny.
No, I want them to shake the building and do a test. I want them to see what it would take.
Makes me feel better about us.
Oh, yes, exactly.
We're not the only ones that do some crazy stuff.
No, and again, she's kind of just sometimes you have a live moment and when you step back from it, you go, oh, that was really not very smart.
She's just a trailblazer. She's thinking ahead. You got to test these things. You can't rely on it to everybody know what to do. I mean, we run a weekly EAS test just in case a nuclear bomb gets dropped. You need to know what it sounds like.
Mm-hmm. It's a test. This is a test. Here's a good reason for the Rangers not to have signed Max Scherzer, the Toronto Blue Jay right-hander. Did you know he was playing for the Toronto Blue Jays?
I did.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I probably had heard that or read that or seen that, and it just hadn't.
You brought it up on the show when he signed with them.
Okay, great. Okay. Well, guess what? He's dealing with soreness in his right thumb. He'll go to a specialist in the United States later this week, according to their manager, John Schneider. He received a cortisone injection in the troublesome thumb on March the 31st. He's played catch on the road several times, but he's had some varying degrees of good and bad, and the manager says he just wants to try to hammer it out. Man, bet you the Rangers are glad they didn't re-sign that cat. He had to push back a spring training start because of thumb pain.
Thumb pain.
Thumb pain.
Too much hitchhiking.
Thumb
playing
pain.
Video games, maybe.
He signed a $15.5 million one-year contract with the Blue Jays in February. They had to be wondering, can this guy really, really make it? Had to be wondering that. And the answer is no. We've seen this. We've seen this movie before.
Well, I mean, for the last 4 or 5 years, he's struggled with injuries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he helped you get to a World Series, but
helped you win one.
It helped you win one.
Win.
Yeah,
not get to win.
Win one. It helped you win a World Series.
Win.
Right.
Everybody's hands go up and they stay there. Win. Yes.
Yes. There's a big difference there.
6:54 this morning here on the morning drive. We've had one of those hours. Thanks for being with us.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Here's what the lineup looks like for today. We'll have our fine complementary of sports talk shows throughout the day today. You'll have the end of the bench at 9, bottom line at noon on 100.7 The Score. Dan Patrick at 9, Colin Cowherd at noon here on Double T 97.3, and then Tech Talk will take you up to Rangers baseball tonight as they take on the Los Angeles Angels there in Arlington. Rangers trying to come off of a 3-game sweep of the Seattle Mariners. They've kind of been reeling lately. Lubbock Cooper softball in action tonight. They'll take on Monterey. That'll be at 6:30 on 100.7 The Score. We'll have the Astros and the Cardinals after that from St. Louis. And then tonight from Amarillo, from Hodgetown, where the Sod Poodles play. It'll be Friendship Baseball against Amarillo High, and that'll be on Sunny 97.7. That'll be at 7 o'clock tonight. So lots to look forward to today. I'm trying not so hard to buy the hype. They get me every year. Fool me once. Shame on you. Fool me 26 years in a row. But I'm sure I'll succumb.
We just call that being a Red Raider fan, actually.
Yeah, call it being a sports fan, right?
I don't disagree with what he's saying. That you hear all the things you want to hear in the offseason from, and this isn't this coaching staff's problem. It's been every coaching staff since the history of mankind. You're talking up your team, and and maybe you're trying to instill some confidence in them, or you're trying to get people to buy more tickets, or whatever the situation is, or you just really think that you've got a really good team, and then it turns out that you didn't.
And you're a positive person, and you see the bright side of things, and
be the half-glass full guy.
It's not being critical, but there's also a large part of me that is pulling back the reins a little bit of saying, okay, hang on a minute. We've heard a lot of this before.
I agree with a lot of what you're saying, Jeff. This shit's different. I mean, you just spent how much money? You just had the number one transfer portal class in the country. It's different. It's different. I mean, this is not like, hey, we think we put together. I mean, it's like you put together I don't want to say a dream team, but like you went out and said, okay, there's like 15 really quality guys out there. We're going to take 8 of them. The rest of college football, you can have the other 7.
Yeah, we got the DeBuscher kid from Smith Center, and so we feel really good about him because he's a 6'7", 270-pound offensive lineman. That's kind of what we'd hear before in the past.
I have no idea what that reference
That was the part we needed to... We're like...
No, it was just more along the lines...
This is different. We've brought in guys that have been really good players in Power 4 conference teams, on Power 4 conference teams.
That have a resume.
Yeah, and have done it at a high level and been really good. So I feel like this is completely different than what we've normally been through.
Yeah, and
it feels like there was reason to have crazy expectations.
I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong too. I mean, we haven't talked about that. Hey, the expectation is to get to a Big 12 title game. We've not really ever talked about that. We've talked about
yes, we have. Yes, we have.
About the expectation of getting there.
A couple of times even.
Yeah, I mean, you've been very adamant that it would be a disappointing or a...
No. I'm talking about in years past.
Oh, in years past.
Yeah.
Okay.
In years past where, because the expectation is so much different this year.
We surely have this year.
Yeah, because in the past we've talked about, offensive line is really going to be improved, or quarterback play should really be top notch, and we've got these receivers coming back, or we've got these.
Yeah, but we were talking about it playing in the Big 12 championship game last year and going through our schedule and trying to find the first loss, and one person in this group may or may not have gotten to 11-1 one year. Like, this is not unheard of for us to be saying these things, and it
just feels different this year, though.
It's felt different every year.
It doesn't just feel different; it is different.
Yeah, it's different this year. It's different this year.
How do you win in college football right now? You win through the transfer portal.
Yes, absolutely.
And we just won the offseason through the transfer portal. Okay? I mean, the expectations that Kirby Hocutt should have on that football team, that Joey McGuire should have on his football team, that this fan base should have for this football team are way higher than normal.
Yeah. Mac Leftwich is the offensive coordinator for the Texas Tech Red Raiders now. He replaces Zach Kitley, who moved on to Florida Atlantic, where he's the head football coach. Coach Leftwich was asked about the quarterback and gives us this evaluation so far.
Yeah, I think those guys are doing a phenomenal job. I feel really good about where we're at in that room. I think Will, I think he's so mature and such a hard worker and all of those things. I think a lot of times when you're around him on a day-to-day basis, you forget that he's still a redshirt freshman. And so I think for where he's at in his development at this point in his career, I'm very excited about his future. I think Mitch Griffiths has been an unbelievable add to the room. A guy who I would feel very comfortable having to go play in a game with. Has learned the offense, is great for the room, and is a good player too. So I feel really good about those two. Holden Phillips has stepped in and done a great job for what we needed to this spring. Just goes out there and gets completion. So excited to add Barron back into the mix, this summer and start getting him reps, but feel really good about where that quarterback room is right now and where it's headed.
That was interesting about I'd feel comfortable with him in a game right now. And it wasn't Will Hammond, it was the other guy, the other new guy.
Cool. I mean, he's a veteran quarterback.
I know. Just that makes me wonder if he's QB2 right now.
Jeff, could you play that again?
Yeah, I think those guys are doing a phenomenal job. I feel really good about, where we're at in that room. I think Will, I think he's so mature and such a hard work and all of those things. I think a lot of times when you're around him on a day-to-day basis, you forget that he's, still a redshirt freshman. And so I think for where he's at in his development at this point in his career, I'm very excited about his future. I think Mitch Griffiths has been an unbelievable add to the room. A guy who I would feel very comfortable having to go play in a game with. Has learned the offense, is great for the room, and is a good player too. So feel really good about those two. Holden Phillips has stepped in and done a great job for what we needed to this spring. Just goes out there and gets completion. So excited to add Barron back into the mix, this summer and start getting him reps, but feel really good about where that quarterback room is right now and where it's headed.
Are you hearing what Chuck is hearing, Jeff?
He said he'd feel real comfortable about Mitch Griffiths in a game right now.
Yeah, but he mentioned Will Hammond first.
Mm-hmm, he did. Mm-hmm.
He went through everybody.
Wondering if he's QB2.
Yeah, I just was wondering if he's QB2 or if it's Will Hammond.
I heard nothing there that makes me think he's QB2.
Okay. I just heard him say.
When a coach says, "I'd be comfortable with that guy
mm-hmm.
in the game or on the field or whatever,"
mm-hmm.
It's the same thing that Tim Tadlock said about Dominic Archila.
Okay.
And he's your fourth catcher.
Okay.
He hasn't played this year.
I'd be comfortable with him behind the plate.
Okay, he hasn't played.
Okay.
He hasn't played this year.
I mean, sometimes I read things wrong or see things wrong or read the room wrong. Occasionally I miss.
Yeah, I think you're searching for something there.
Okay.
I think Will Hammond is squarely the
number two. Okay.
Well, with what he was saying, that's what I took from it.
Okay.
I was wondering. I asked Jeff because I was wondering if maybe I was the one that was.
And I'm not suggesting that he's moved up the chart at all, but I did find it interesting what he said about Holden Phillips, who's the young man from Friendship, and said all he does is make completions. And I will say this. When I was at practice the other day, and I went down and watched I was like, where are the quarterbacks? And after I watched the kicker make a kick, I'm like, where are the quarterbacks? And I looked down there and I'm like, well, Coach McGuire was down there watching the quarterbacks. I'm like, well, if he's watching the quarterbacks, I'm going to go watch the quarterbacks. Because watching defensive linemen or offensive linemen, okay, they're big and they can block, and it's impressive what they're doing. But I kept looking and go, who's this number 16? I went, oh, it's Holden Phillips. He's a freshman, but he had great zip on the ball, but they all had great zip on the ball. But he was putting it right in their hands. And I'm not suggesting anything. I was just like, he kind of popped out to me. And then when he said what he said about him, I was like, yeah, I could see that. Just in the brief amount of time that I saw him.
Okay, good.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
Okay, I think this is a pretty simple question. I want to make it a little bit open-ended for you guys. We're going to talk Red Raider football here. And I'm just going to say this. Who or what are we not talking enough about on this team? Who's getting either overshadowed or you think that he's going to be a great player and we've really not talked about him much, or what? Like a certain part of the game for this team are you super confident in that we're not talking about enough?
Who or what? Okay. Because I was going to say the quarterback play, but we've talked about the quarterback play. But I do think that it is the pink elephant in the room that we just assume that everything's going to be rosy and healthy, and Barron's going to throw at everybody in May and June, and it's all going to be rosy and just fine by the time we get to the fall. But you know what? I think a real strength last year for the Red Raider defense was the linebacking core, and we really haven't talked about the linebacking core. We've talked about the defensive backs. We've talked about the fronts, both offense and defense. We've talked about the running backs. But I don't know that we've talked about the linebacking core and what you have coming back there, because I think that was a real strength for you last season.
Okay.
I don't know that it's going to be a strength. when I say that we haven't talked about them enough, but it's definitely impactful on both sides of the ball for what I'm bringing up. We have 2 new coordinators in charge of your entire offense and your entire defense going into next season. And while we think we know what they're going to be doing, anybody know what kind of front we're going to run this year for defensive line? Anybody know if we're going to be running...
I'm going to go with the same one that Houston ran last year.
Right.
That'd be my guess.
Well, and we
I have no idea what it was. Chuck, if you know... I'm sure Rob Bro knows.
They're still working on the install,
I was asking the 3 of us.
Yeah.
I was asking the 3 of us.
Choice probably knows.
Choice probably knows, yeah.
We've got 2 new schemes coming.
Schemes.
And even if it's close to what they've done in the past, they're going to have their own little tweaks. They're going to have their own style. That's actually one of the things I'm excited about to see in the spring game, because we'll actually get to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So your 2 new coordinators, we aren't talking about enough.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair enough, and how it's going to change things and how it's going to look and all that good stuff. I think that's good. I think my answer is kind of what Chuck's is, but a little more specific. It's Jacob Rodriguez. The dude was phenomenal for us last year. Mm-hmm. We brought in so many defensive players in the defensive line. We whether it be edge rushers or whether it be interior guys, we brought in so many defensive backs. We knew we needed change there. And Chuck's point that the linebackers were probably the best part of your defense last year, I think is fair to say. And I just think Jacob Rodriguez was a terrific player, a terrific leader for you. We're lucky to that he is back for the Red Raiders for another year. I know Chuck wanted to ship him off to Kansas State.
I did not. Did not.
You just kind of was a foregone conclusion for you that we were going to lose him.
Well, yeah, and it sure seemed, it seemed like
I think we were all worried.
We were all worried, and then we opened up the checking account for all the other guys, and now it seems like that was silly to be worried about Jacob Rodriguez, that you would lose him to another school that would be willing to pay him more.
I don't know that the paying more was the factor.
No, I think it was the fact that his
wife got stationed there.
Yeah, his wife was stationed there, right? It wasn't about money. I don't think it's ever been money with Jacob Rodriguez. But anyway, I just think he's a terrific player, a great leader, and we've talked so much about all the new guys. Understandably so. They're really good players as well, but you're bringing back an absolute stud there at your linebacker position that I feel like gets overlooked a little bit.
Jacob Rodriguez is the concrete slab of your defensive house.
Yeah.
He's rock steady. He's, I don't want to say perfect, but he's level. He's exactly what you need it to be. When you're showing off your house, though, you're not talking about your concrete slab. You're talking about the nice paint on the walls. You're talking about the new kitchen. You're talking about all these things. But Jacob Rodriguez is the concrete slab of your house.
Beautiful garage, too, Chuck.
If it breaks, you got big problems.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that was, you got guys that you've got coming back include, Ben Roberts and John Curry and Bryce Ramirez, and in addition to Jacob Rodriguez, he was a beast in that linebacking core. Justin Horn, I've heard Coach McGuire talk about him. So, and then there's others as well that have come in. I think what the other thing that's going to be really interesting to me, kind of coming up here in the next, I don't know how quickly they're going to do this, because you've got to get your roster set down to 105, or do you? Or do you? With what's coming down the pike from this judge,
that seemed like it would limit the ability for a young man to make money through NIL if they even limited the number of people on a roster. So therefore a judge will say, you cannot do that.
Okay. You can have as many as you want. You have 210 out there if you
There was a little bit of sarcasm on my part.
And a little bit of truth.
But obviously a lot of truth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little bit of truth. Yeah. So, from the Yates Flooring Center chat line, off the Double T 97.3 mobile app presented by Happy State Bank. Coach Wood ran the 3-4 at Tulane/Houston, so expect more of the same there. I think this is sarcasm. Somebody wants to know, how did the punters look? I didn't see any punters punting.
You didn't?
When I was out there the other day.
Are we not planning on doing that?
No, I think we are. I just did during my keen observation moments, okay?
Uh-huh.
I didn't see any punters punting. I saw people hitting each other or hitting things, and quarterbacks throwing to folks.
Do punters practice? Or
Yeah,
the
they sure
kickers? Do they
sure.
do? They were probably over sitting somewhere.
Our new kicker was kicking,
having an icy or something.
could have been. Saw Upton Belafont, kick one, miss one, and make one. Haven't seen the punters punt yet though. But fear not. Fear not. When I get over there and able to observe, I'll give you my keen observation on
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Drive. Good morning with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. Chuck Heinz, nice to have you with us this morning here on the Morning Drive.
A little worried about you there for a second, Chuck.
Yeah.
Were you thinking I was wondering where I was?
Yes.
Okay.
And wondering who you were with.
Yeah,
actually.
who I was. Yeah.
Okay. What I'm aware. I'd tell you I'm well aware, but that didn't come off like that, right? We come to you from the First United Bank studio, Jamie, Jeff, and I. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to doublet973.com for that, or the mobile app. Visual Edge IT hotline is open too at 806-771-0973. Just a quick question for our fine listening audience, and really the Dallas area, or those that might have made the trek to Jerry's place yesterday. I did not know this was happening until I think this past weekend that I saw that they were touring. I did not know that AC/DC was on an American tour. Okay?
Okay.
And they're one of my favorite bands. It would have been hard on a Monday to go because it was last night at Jerry's place, but AC/DC was in concert last night. I'm just curious, like folks like Dan in Dallas or any of our fine audience members from Lubbock, took their private jets and went and watched AC/DC in Dallas last night. So if you did, and you want to give us a critique, I'm all ears this morning. But that's a big miss. I mean, it's one thing to make the decision, I just really can't go because of timing and things like that, and work and stuff like that. But it was just completely off my radar. Not that I've got the concert calendar on my, Android just, popping up with all the various shows that are coming around. But usually I'm pretty aware of stuff like that. But I was completely unaware of that one.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not your fault. It's just, again, probably wouldn't have gone because it's on a Monday. So it just kind of messes up the whole week. So it kind of makes me wonder why Dallas didn't get a Sunday, It's like, or Saturday. Maybe the Jerry's place just wasn't available for him, but at any rate. Red Raider football continues practice today. The defensive coordinator is Sheil Wood. He's brand new. He replaced Tim DeRuiter in the offseason. He was asked after practice yesterday of what this defense needs to improve on to be ready when the fall comes.
Time. We just need time. We need reps. I really like where we're headed. I really do. I wouldn't pinpoint any one area and say, we need to improve this specifically necessarily. I just think that our coaches are doing a great job coaching. I really like our staff right now and the bond that we're forming. I believe that our players are excited to be here and excited about the opportunity that lies ahead for this season. And we just need time and reps. Just the longer we're together and continuing to build the momentum that we've got right now in a positive direction, then we'll just keep getting better. And hopefully that'll carry on, through the summer and fall camp. And then, game one's going to be game one. And hopefully we can continue to use those bank reps throughout the season, live and in color. And we'll just keep getting better as the year goes on. And hopefully we'll be playing our best football towards the end of the season.
I mean, like that they need time. I would tell him, I don't know how much time you got. I mean, you got between now and
you got to football season starts.
Yeah,
that's a good amount of time.
It does. It just I don't know about you, but it just feels like the calendar's ripping off. Like the cartoon where they're like the summer goes to winter and winter goes to summer so fast. And it's like, that's what it feels like right now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, for me. I mean, for me personally, that's what it feels like right now. It feels like it's going to be, we're going to be, getting ready for the first game like next week is what it feels like. That's how fast it's I can't slow the world down right now. And
Can you sometimes?
Yeah, I feel like I can sometimes slow it down a little bit. Just feel like I can't slow it down at all right now.
Is this only when you have a blue shirt on?
No, that's special. That's special occasions. Special occasions.
So slowing the world down
is what we
wouldn't be a special occasion.
Well, I just feel like we need to slow it down a little bit right now. Just because, man, it just feels like, man, it's just like going crazy. Man, I don't know. So, it always, because I'm not going to play it for you guys because it always kind of cracks me up when these kinds of questions are asked. And if any of our guys asked them, then I don't mean to be critical, but what percentage of the defense has been installed? 73%.
I guess you're probably not looking for an exact number there. You're probably just looking for him to. I guess would it have felt better if they said what how much of it has been installed?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Because it was also asked of Coach Leftwich too, how much of the offense has been installed.
I don't know, man.
Like we're all gonna. What?
We've asked some pretty silly questions.
Oh yeah. No, again, I'm not being. Again, I'm not being critical. I'm just saying it just and God knows I've asked questions that others just kind of shake their head at. Present company included.
Present company included.
Like you guys have questioned, I think, in your minds probably sometimes when
I mean the one about the shaking the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely done that.
Yeah. This same here, Chuck. This train is getting faster. 64 years flew by for me. Chuck, just wait until you reach 70. The years fly by. Carl, wherever Carl is this morning. This Chuck is now Atlas. Okay, I can hold the world up. Well, Chuck, that's what they call getting older. The old say life is like a roll of toilet paper. The closer you get to the end, the faster it rolls. Oh, wow. That was really prophetic. But they're right. They're right. Man. Chuck, you could never be a backup singer. Chuck has to lead. Oh. Yeah. You can only be a backup singer only if you're wearing your blue shirt. Yeah. Sure.
He can be whatever he wants, apparently, when he's wearing the blue shirt.
Right, yeah. Why are we have HR Puffin stuff right now?
You mean Simon and Garfunkel?
Right, that one too.
Slow down, you move too fast?
Oh, it sounded like HR Puffin stuff. HR Puffin stuff. Da, 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 da. I didn't have it turned up that heavy in my headset to be able to calculate the exact song that was coming down the pike there.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.